Hi everyone, this is Heather. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I have a card tutorial for you and we're going to make this fun spring card with a little piggy and he's completely surrounded by little chicks that are hatching out. This is using a new stamp set from Hello Bluebird. This is their spring greetings. And I made a card recently with the little lamb. I'll link that in the description box down below. This is such an adorable set. I'm also using the coordinating dies, and one of my favorite things about the dies is that they cut little slits around the animal's hands so that they can hold some of the accessories in the set. So that is really fun. I'm also trying out something new today. When I was at Hobby Lobby recently, I came across a new product, or at least it's new to me, from Spectrum Noir, and it is their Tri-Blend marker. And it's one big long marker that has 3 different tones of the same color to make for really easy blending. So it has a light, a medium, and a dark. And this one is called Fair Skin Blend, and I noticed that the numbers coordinated with colors that they already have. So this is FS6, FS7, and FS8, and I have quite a few Spectrum Noir, and these are colors that I already have, but I wanted to give these a try, and I thought it was very handy to have them all together. So I'm starting off with a yellow cardstock base. I just took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock and cut, scored, and folded it in half. Then I'm using a piece of green gingham paper, and this is from Stampin' Up! From their Gingham Gala, and I have cut this to 5 1/4 by 4. This is double-sided with a large on one side and a small on the other, so I'm using the smaller side. And then I have 2 pieces of 110-pound cardstock weight to do my scene and my stamping on. So the scene is cut to 5 by 3 3/4, and the other is just around 5 by 5 for my stamping. And I apologize if you hear one of my cats meowing in the background. They get really excited when I make videos. So I'm going to start off by doing a little bit of ink blending on my base piece of paper. I'm using some peeled paint Distress Oxide inks and a blending brush. I have a little bit more information in a video on my channel about these brushes, and I'll link that down below. I'm just going to take a little bit of the excess off on a scratched piece of paper and then kind of blend sort of an ovally rectangle, just a very small area, kind of in the middle and down just a little bit. Just take my brush and just kind of blend that out. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be a lot over top of it, but I just wanted the illusion of a little bit of grass in the background, but I wanted to keep the rest of the card nice and bright and white so all the little critters and elements really popped off. So I'm just going to continue to blend that out. So I'm happy with my ink blending, and now I'm going to take the little grass stamp from the set, and I'm going to use the same Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to randomly stamp some little tufts of grass around on that area that I've ink blended. So I'm ready to move on to my black stamping, and using some black Memento ink, I'm going to take the Hello Spring Words and I'm going to stamp it in the upper left hand corner of the panel that I've ink blended. Now I'm ready to go ahead and begin to stamp out my images on my other white sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to stamp out this adorable little pig. And then I've put all 3 of the little chicks from this set on one block, and I'm going to stamp them out twice. And now I'm going to stamp out 4 of the solid egg. There is one in there that has kind of like an Easter egg pattern on it, but I just want just the plain egg. Now I'm going to begin to color with my alcohol-based markers. I'm going to start off with the Tri-Blend marker and show you how that works. So I'm using the lightest color, and it's FS6. That's a little hard to say. And I'm just going to color my little piggy in completely with this light color. So one thing that I did want to mention is because the way these markers are put together, there is only one tip. On a lot of alcohol-based markers, you'll get different tips on either side, but there is only one pointed tip. And I'm not sure that these are refillable because I'm not sure how you would get the, the barrels out. I'll have to look that up. It doesn't say anywhere on the packaging that they are, but Spectrum Noir does make refills for their marker colors. So now, as you can see, I've just pulled this apart. I have a slightly stubbier marker here, and my light source is coming from the left, so I'm going to put heavier shadow on the right-hand side of all of my images that I'm coloring. And I'm going to take this medium marker pretty far into the body of my little pig. Add a little bit more shading in some other areas. So here's the medium color all laid down. And now I'm going to take the darker color, which you have to flip the marker, take off the other cap. And again, a little bit heavier on the lighter side, and I'm just going to go in and add some shadowing in some areas. I'm going to color in his hooves with the darker. And once I have all this darker color laid out, if you want to, you can go back in with the lighter color and blend everything in together. Here's my little pig. I'm finished with the coloring, and I really like these markers. They blend very nicely. Like I said, I've used Spectrum Noir in the past and been happy with them. So I really think that this is a cool idea to have the 3-in-1. If you have trouble picking out colors for blending, this is a really good idea, and I probably will pick up a couple more of these and maybe some colors that I don't already have. So I'm going to continue to use Spectrum Noir markers to color the rest of my images in, and I wanted my chicks to be in different colors, so I'm using CT2 and CT3 for 2 of the chicks, and I'm going to leave their little beaks uncolored. So I'm just going to start off with the lighter of the shades, and then again add some shadowing on the right hand side with the darker color. Now I'm going to do 2 of the chicks in GB3 as the lighter color and GB5 for my shadow. And lastly, I'm doing 2 more of the chicks in GB8 as the light color and GB10 for the shadow. And on this chick, I did go in and do a little bit of the blending just because the browns are quite a bit darker, so I just blended those 2 out together. I wanted the chicks to look, kind of multicolored, like when you go to a farm and all the little chickens are combinations of yellows and browns. And now with the same GB10, the darker the markers, I'm going to give all my chicks little brown beaks. And now for my eggs, I'm taking FS2, and I'm just going to color all the eggs in with that. And now I'm going back to the lighter of the browns, GB8, and I'm just going to make a few little speckled dots here and there on the eggs just to make them look a little more realistic and more like brown eggs that you would get at the farm. So now I've added all the speckles to my eggs, and I'm ready to cut out all of my images. So I'm just going to take some repositionable tape and just tape my dies down. And you will have to run the chicks through twice and the eggs through 4 different times. So now I have all my little pieces and parts run through my Big Shot machine, and they've been die cut. So on the back of one of the eggs, I want to put a glue dot. I'm going to pull up the little piggy's hands a little bit. Take off the backing paper. And I'm just going to slip that egg up in there so that he's holding on to it. Next, I wanted to have 2 of my eggs look like they had cracked open. So if you've been a paper crafter for a long time like me, I bet you have a bunch of these still lying around. Do you remember these paper shaper scissors that would cut different designs? I still have a bunch of mine, and I use them occasionally. This one has a teeny little scallop on it, so I thought that would be perfect to have the little eggs crack open. So I'm just going to cut 2 of my eggs in half with these scissors. and on the top of one, I'm just gonna throw that away. So now I'm ready to start putting my scene together. And so I'm just doing a variety of foam tape and glue dots to put my scene together. So on my pig and on one of the little chicks, the one that I wanted standing on his head, I'm gonna put foam tape on the back. I'm gonna place him kind of in the center of my scene. I'm gonna place this little chick standing on top of his head. And then on one of the eggs that I cut, I'm gonna take one of these little chicks, and I'm just gonna take my regular scissors. I know this looks horrible, I'm cutting a little chicken's head off. And I'm just gonna snip his little body away. And I'm gonna put glue dots on the back of those two, and I'm gonna put them together so that it looks like he's peeping out of the egg. So I've also placed a little bit of a glue dot on the top of his egg that I cut off, and I've placed that down. So with foam tape on some and glue dots on others, I'm just gonna place my little images around the scene. Kind of want this guy to look like he's just come out of an egg. And now I have all my cute little chicks placed around my scene. So I'm just gonna put some tape runner on the back, and I'm gonna apply that to my gingham paper. And then this just gets applied on the front of my card base. And here is our finished card. I think it came out really cute. I love this stamp set from Hello Bluebird. I just thought the little pig with all the chicks running around was just a really fun scene, and I think it's perfect for a spring card. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also be sure to check out my channel. I have lots of other card tutorials and product reviews for you, and if you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and I hope you have a fabulous spring. This is Heather. Bye.